picture, it's you and sprig number 1 up on the top of that rack, and then at the bottom we see a lot more sprigs. So where do we go from here? On the next slide, we're going to see that we continue to advance. I love this picture. Now we become a star consultant. Again, we still have to do our 500. That number's never going to change. But now our team has increased. Our team has to work together, all our sprigs and sprouts and us, and we have to increase that number now by 1,500. And we also have to increase our active front line by 1. But what do we receive? Again, an increase. We now receive the 25%. That number's not going to change. 4% of our personal wholesale volume. It's increased by 2%. And it's increased also our front line, essential and certified. Remember, they're working alone, but they're still working. But that's been increased now by 2%. And an additional now, because remember that we're sprouting, and we're growing, and some are going to make lead. And so when we make star, we pick up our lead, and we're paid 2% on any frontline lead consultants in our team. So as you can see in the picture, you've shared your sprouts and your sprigs, and you've helped many others to sprout their own Scentsy plants. And it's such a variety. I love that picture. So many beautiful plants. And isn't it a beautiful garden that we're starting? Are you starting to see the picture? So let's recap in the next slide to see the monthly minimums to be paid at Star. Again, your consistent and constant number is 500. You, your sprigs, and all your little sprouts need 2,500, and you need at least 2 of them now to be active. So how many Star consultants are here today? Let's give it to you. I don't hear you. Okay, lead consultants, put your hands up against stars. Lead consultants, talk to the stars. Talk to them, see what they are doing or did to go to lead from star, from lead to star. So now you saw that to go from lead to star, you needed 1 more active sprig. And then all your sprigs together had to produce 2,500. Now let's talk about this because there are some minimums. If you personally only do the required minimum of 500, okay, that's 500 for your team, and the 2 active, I had only minimum 2, that's all you needed. They only did their minimum to be active, which is $150. That total only makes $800. It is a far cry from 2,500. That is why each sprig that you share needs to grow and share sprigs right from the beginning. They share sprigs, they get sprouts. And they start filling in their own Scentsy landscape design. Especially when you see this next jump. This is why you need to be constantly sharing seeds and sprigs and growing sprouts. And you need to train them to share Scentsy seeds and sprigs and take care of their sprouts. Okay, and when we see the next slide, we're going to see why. The Superstar Consultant, monthly minimum for you, $500. But now this is a big jump to $6,000. And yes, that is in 1 month. That's you, all your sprigs, and all your sprouts. It's increased now by $3,500. What happens if you start growing your garden? Stop it. If you stop sharing sprigs and you stop sharing seeds, you're never going to make that. That's why you want to be consistent in those seeds, sprigs, and sprouts. And you need now a 3rd active frontline consultant. So now we've added additional. But what do you receive as a Superstar? You receive your consistent 25% of PRV. The next number has jumped by 3% because now you're getting 7% on your personal wholesale volume. All your essential and certified frontlines, team wholesale volume, you now get 7, so that's also jumped by 3. And 5% of your frontline leads, team wholesale volume, that's also jumped by 3. But now you also pick up your stars. So see, you're growing, they're growing, and you're filling in that Scentsy landscape. Now there are some plants, and who's heard of this? You ever heard of naturalizing plants? Nobody? Yes. You know, iris, the iris flower, those are naturalizing. There's a, I don't know what it's called, we call it Wandering Jew in East Texas, but it goes everywhere. That's the whole point, it's naturalizing. It means that their offspring reproduce and spread naturally. And that's what you want to happen, because while we continue planting Scentsy seeds, sharing sprigs, and we train our sprouts to share sprigs. So, are you starting to get in the sense of how quickly the naturalizing of the Scentsy garden can happen, all from simply seeding, sprigging, and sprouting. Say that 5 times fast. And now I just want you to think about your own Scentsy landscape. How's it filling in? Do you have some bare spots that you need to start sprigging and sprouting a little bit more? Do you need to spread some more Scentsy seeds? Yes. Are your wheels turning as to what Scentsy can mean for you and your family? Are you and your future family? As you share seeds, sprigs, and sprouts? Yes. Okay, so let's change the slide and let's do our minimums. Recap minimums for Superstar Consultants. The Superstar Consultant, again, your consistent PRV is $500. What was it? $500. Thank you. You and your sprigs and sprouts need at $6,000. And you need at least 3 of those sprigs to be active. Now, how many Superstar Consultants are in the room today? Good, good, good. Let's give them a hand. That means they've been doing some gardening. Congratulations. Now, star consultants, take note of who those superstars are. Talk to them, see what they're doing, what they did to go from star to superstar. And now here it is again monthly. You need to do 500. Your team has to do 6,000. That's you, all your sprigs and sprouts. And you need at least 3 active frontline. And you will not get there with just the minimums. You need to be thinking consistently, seeding, sprigging, sprouting, gardening. And now there's only one more jump that gets you to director. It's the biggest jump yet. Are you ready? You ready to take that jump? Let's seed and sprig and sprout. Let's go to the next one. I love this picture too because it shows you really beautiful gardens. They're all very well maintained. And you see that everybody's taking care of their own little section of the garden. This is how it is when you become a director. You have all of these consultants under you that are sprigging, seeding, and sprouting. They're taking care of their own garden, and as a result, yours is growing. So, what's the minimum for a director? You still have to do 500. That's a minimum. Your team now has to do $10,000 a month. Who thinks that is just like so far out there I can't even reach it? Yeah. Well, not if you're seeding and sprigging and sprouting, it's not. But you need to be consistent with that. Okay? So that increased now by $4,000. There's at least 3 active frontline. That means you have to add another one. But what do you receive as a director? The consistent number of 25% of your personal retail volume. Increase of 2% on your personal wholesale volume, you now get 9%. 9% of all of your little sprigs and sprouts, because it's frontline, essential, and certified, that's an increase of 2%. You now get 9%. Your frontline has also, for your leads, has also increased by 2% because now you get 7% on them. Plus, 5% on all of your star team wholesale volumes. That's also an increase of 2%. Plus, you've picked up now 2% of your superstars and 3% of your directors, your Generation First directors. That's an additional. So you see, as each level is achieved, there are additional rewards as well. So let's recap on the minimums to be paid at director level. Again, your minimum is?
500.
What is it?
500.
Okay. Your team as director has to do 10,000, and yes, that is every single month. That's you, all your sprigs and sprouts and seeds. Now, you have to have at least 3 active frontline consultants. Now, we're going to stop at this level of director, and the reason we're going to stop is because once you get to director, the rules change again just a little bit. And that's a whole other training talk. But this is what I want you to get here, that remember that even though at this level and above, we must all pay attention to our own Scentsy landscape. Who has Landscape Designer on their computer? Who has Scentsy Landscape Designer on their computer? Every hand in this room should be up. Oh. Because you decide your own Scentsy garden design. And we can do it if we continue to plant Scentsy seeds, share Scentsy sprigs, and nurture our Scentsy sprouts. Remember that it all starts with just one, and that one is you. Now, director is where we want everyone in this room to be. Last night, we had a director dinner. Debi lovingly gave us a director dinner. How many people were there, Debi? 40 directors had dinner together last night. Imagine that we have this room for a director's dinner because all of us have made director. Can you imagine this many directors? That's what we imagine for you, because it is definitely possible for each one of you here to become director. But how do you do it? You plant seeds. You share your sprigs, and they become your sprouts. And that's what we want for each one of you, is to be director. And if you want to be director, you talk to your director and see how they did it, and they can get you there. The next slide, please. In order to turn your dreams into success, you gotta work. You gotta work hard. You gotta work consistently. You gotta work continually to improve and ultimately be your best. Like all, the next slide please, like all successful master gardeners, when you understand the Scentsy Compensation Plan, and I sincerely hope that you grasp the possibilities for your Scentsy garden and your Scentsy landscape, and just how beautiful it can be. Now you may not be married, and I hope that you're not contrary, but I ask you again, how does your garden grow?